We're going to talk to you today about shift work and how that affects your training and your nutrition and your body and just
relationships.
Yes. So just a little bit of background. I probably really didn't know anything about the effects of shift work until obviously got with Josh, but I think like over time we have sort of bounced ideas off of each other and figured out some different ways to make his health better and his training better. And sometimes that's hard because the hours they just are what they are. And so you have to just do the best you can.
Yeah, and to give you all perspective of kind of what my schedule looks like, to give you an idea of where a lot of this comes from, is I work somewhere where we do a 24 on, 48 off schedule. So we'll do 24 hours on and 48 hours off. And then I also do some other things aside from that. I do an honor guard and I do a special operations rescue team, and then I'm also deputized on the SWAT team. So those are also trainings I have a lot of times during the weeks, or we'll have call outs in the middle of the night or early mornings. And then I also work a part-time ambulance service job as well. And then I also do some overtime shifts as well. So it could be anywhere from generally 70 to 120 hour work weeks, somewhere in that area. And it's a lot of variability there of how it goes.
Yeah, so it's like varied sleep. I think Josh he's always had a motivation to try to do the best he can with his health. Yeah. So that for whatever reason. So why are you so motivated to do that?
I had already enjoyed working out and eating right before I started the job, which helped a lot. Now, when I look back on what I thought eating right was back then and those kind of things, I was probably way off base, but still, nevertheless, I kind of had already a little bit of a groove before I started in this profession. But the biggest thing for me was once I started, I noticed that there wasn't very many people retiring doing what I did. And a lot of times when this is 15 years ago when I started in this position, everybody would kind of tell you this is a young guy's kind of profession. You know, you might do it for a little while, then you'll get out and do something else. And you didn't see a whole lot of people retiring. And unfortunately with EMS in particular, there's not a lot of room for advancement. So a lot of people would be forced into retirement because their bodies would fail them, or their minds, or they would develop a lot of issues, substance abuse, and several other things due to stress, and all kinds of other stuff. But so to me, I also looked at it that it was something that I loved as a career and that I was decently okay at, and I wanted to be able to do it for 30 years, 20, 30 years. So if I was going to be able to do that, what could I see these other people were doing that was causing them to have issues and not have long careers? How could I maybe address those kind of things for longevity? Plus, I'm that weird person that enjoys working out too, but we don't all enjoy eating healthy. I mean, all of us like pizza sometimes and stuff like that, but it all kind of goes together.
Mm-hmm. So I think just with us, we're kind of workout and nutrition and health nerds, so we try to read a lot, and just over time we've kind of gotten a little base of knowledge on why things happen. So first of all, like, I want to say that this whole video is in total support of shift work. We're not trying to say that people should get out of it or anything like that. We just want to point out some of the reasons why you might be feeling the way that you're feeling, if your health isn't great, and that it's not necessarily your fault if you can't find motivation. This is just like one of our things that we're like got a lot of information out of this little book, and it's a really good read for people that do shift work because it explains why your body does what it does when it doesn't have sleep. And so it does things like affect your hormones. You have hormones in your body that tell you when to eat, when not to eat. And when you are lacking in sleep, they get all crazy and they don't know when to tell you to eat and when to tell you to stop eating. And the ones that tell you to stop eating are the weakest, become the weakest ones. And so you can eat the biggest meal on the planet, and that is why you're looking for some chocolate afterwards, or you're looking for one more little thing or one more little bite, and you're still not satisfied. You're full, but you're still not satisfied, right?
Yeah. The pregnant belly.
Yes. So I want to say too, Josh is in EMS, but I've had clients that work, that are nurses that, work that 12 on, 12 off for 4 days, and then they're off for, 3 days or something like that. But a lot of them are so busy during that 12 hours. I mean, they literally tell me, I do not have time to eat. I don't understand that. Something needs to change there. But so that's a shift work position. I have another client who works at Nissan and on night shift, and we deal with this all the time. I know in my brain that the reason it's so hard for her to lose weight is because of her sleep. And she does the best she can on the outside of it. But we've really had to attack that sleep thing and get her to understand, because I think even with Josh, I don't know how he does it. I do not know how he does what he does, but he does it, and he does it in a good mood. So
Sometimes.
Praise you.
Let's say you did a 36 or you did a 48, or you're a shift worker and it's been 4 days in a row and you're feeling like crap. If you didn't go to sleep, would your family really want to be around you anyways? No, they probably think you're just an asshole and you're just being grumpy, and they're going to start thinking, well, what the hell's wrong with him? So you have to be a little selfish about your health, and that's hard to do because most of us work in jobs where we're having to be in a selfless position, and a lot of us get attracted to that for many different reasons. Some of us have issues with maybe being selfish for things for ourselves, or we have issues with thinking it's okay to put ourselves in front of the needs of other people, or what we think other people need, to be selfish about that.
Yeah.
But you have to come to a realization that there's a lot of times, it's never going to be 100%, but more times than not, you need to put your health at the top of that pyramid. I'm not saying if you have a sick baby at home and your wife's been at home with them for 24 hours and you come home after 24 hours, you just go, well, sorry, sucks for you. I'm just going to go to bed now. There's always exceptions.
Yeah, there's
everywhere.
always exceptions.
But you really need to put your health as kind of a selfish priority in your life, especially long term. Look at the long view picture.
Yeah. I think particularly for people that are in healthcare, people they have a heart for what they're doing. So you think it's your willpower, and your willpower is affected by the sleep deprivation. It just is. It's science.
Yeah.
So it's not like you suck and you are weak.
Yeah, it's weak.
Now let's just talk about how to do the damn thing, right? So Josh has been working in EMS how long?
15 years.
Okay, and so he gets made fun of for his rolling cooler. Okay, but we're just gonna ask you how do you structure yourself for food and stuff like that when you're on shift?
So what I do, and this is me knowing myself, is generally speaking, I'll kind of have a goal at the time, and if I don't have a specific goal, then we'll talk about that. So I do really well with me, a meal plan. I'm that weird guy that can eat the same thing every day, and it doesn't bother me too much, and that doesn't bother me. So for me, it works very well. I have a meal plan set out. This is what I'm going to eat today, and so before I go to work, 90% of that is already made and prepped. And so I'll get up in the mornings, and I'll go over to the fridge, and I'll pack all my food for the day, which is generally in a rolling cooler because I eat a lot of food, and everyone says I'm going out for a picnic when I show up to work, and they make fun of me. But it's okay. Fit shaming is real, just like fat shaming.
It is.
Anyways, hungry, I'm working with someone, they're wanting to grab something to eat, and then you have the fear, well, maybe I won't get back to the station to eat what I brought. And so when those times happen, I try to just make the best decision I can with, if it's at a gas station or a fast food place or wherever it may be that someone wants to stop. I generally just keep the concept of my head of just make the healthiest choice. And as long as you do that, 90% of the time you're going to succeed. I mean, everyone knows a candy bar is not a healthy choice. You know, everyone knows French fries are not a healthy choice. Now, I'm not saying I don't love French fries or candy bars, but especially like we talked about before, if you're in a stressful situation, your body's already at a disadvantage metabolically for you to eat that candy bar. That's the absolute worst time for you to eat the candy bar. So I go in and I try to make just the best decision I can. But generally speaking, I'm the weird guy that brings all my food for the day. I have it all planned out. But to be honest with you, if you do that, then you have everything you need and you're not going to fail and you're not going to screw up because you got everything for the day. And it's going to help you reach your goal. But
yeah, and we you know, we are more than willing. I think we try to put it out there anyway about what healthy food choices are. And I know, like at the gas station, even when we're traveling, so I have gas station experience too. But they sell boiled eggs sometimes in gas stations. I know that's gross for some people. Beef jerky. Josh says he'll get a muscle milk. It's not my favorite thing for people to get, but like if that's what he's wanting and it's got protein in it, and he can obviously handle having a muscle milk every now and then, it's not going to show up on him, then that's cool.
pork rinds.
Yeah, pork rinds.
Yeah, especially if some of you guys are low cal or low fat.
Yeah.
Or not low fat, low carb people.
Yes.
Pork
It's
rinds
like
are,
keto.
Yeah, they're like perfect option, and
Yeah.
they make all kinds of flavors that are delicious.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So again, it's not
You're going to have to put in some self-discipline as well. You have to take some ownership of the decisions you're making, and you have to make the right decisions. You know, ultimately, your health is your responsibility, and it's not anyone else's really. So if you
But so let's talk a little bit about training. So not everybody that is going to watch this is training probably, but we want to encourage.
Before we get too far from that, the one more thing on the sleep is just I want to encourage all of you all to do your own research, because sleep was kind of something that we all knew was important, but now we're really starting to see the studies are coming out, the research is coming out about how awful sleep deprivation is for you, and chronic sleep deprivation, how bad it is for you. So please go out there, look at the studies. And I'm not trying to deter anyone from doing shift work, just it's your responsibility to know these things so you can do the best you can to handle the time that you do get. So like she said, this particular book here, this gentleman here, Matthew Walker, he's pretty much the leader in sleep study right now in the whole world. And if you don't like reading books, he's had several podcasts he's been on. He's been on with Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who's super nerdy and super deep. So if that's too much for you, he's also been on Joe Rogan. And if you're
really good Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, and so check out his stuff for sure. It'll pretty much be life changing to you and make you question a lot of the stuff that you do. And so
Who was the bodybuilder that you talked about that was on EMS or did EMS?
So there's a gentleman, he's actually, was a paramedic for 10 years or so, and also he was out of Texas, so they're cross-trained there. They work the fire engine and they also work on the ambulance. His name is Steve Kuklo. Him and his wife actually own what's the name of the legging brand?
Booty Queen?
Yeah, so any girls out there that make really good leggings,
Leggings.
go by. And they were actually on Shark Tank too, I believe. But
Yes.
for I think about 10 or 12 years, and he competed at the highest level as a bodybuilder while trying to counteract that. And even he was saying, if he was getting ready for the Mr. Olympia contest, which is like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, and he's on limited number of calories, even if he was up through the entire night, he would still have some food. It was just making the best choice. Or he would actually pre-plan and he would know exactly what he would have if that took place.
Yeah. Because your body's running all that time, so you're not, it's actually your day. So most people are not up for 24 hours. Most people are up for 17 or something like that. So it's okay to have a meal in that extra time that you're awake. Your body probably needs it. So something else that we sort of figured out with Josh too is when we first got together, Josh's thing was you train on the days that you're off. So he's on the 24 off 48. So he would train those 2 days and use his shift day as his off day from working out. And so I think I hypothesized about this a little bit, and it's hard to change your routine and all that kind of thing. But for the past, you've been experimenting with this for about 6 months, maybe? Not that long.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
He started to train early before his shift. So it's like a 7 to 7 shift. So he's going in early on that shift day and training before he goes on. My idea was just that he never really had a rest day, because he's train, and then he's on shift, and the shift day is his absolute worst day on his body, not sleeping, it's stressful, so he really wasn't getting a rest day. It didn't show on him very much.
No, you can see I promise you, all of you out there, especially if you're someone who trains regularly, take a look at yourself at 7 o'clock in the morning at a shift that you didn't sleep, and then get 2 nights of rest, and look at yourself and see what a difference it makes. You'll see what we were talking about, your hormones internally, how they're just going crazy all over.
Yeah, take a picture.
Yeah.
I can literally tell when Josh walks in the door whether he slept or not. It's like a totally different person. Looks like a totally different person. But anyway, so training on that shift day, kind of experimenting with that, and then having a true rest day. So a day that he's not on doing his shift work day, having one of those as his day off. So is that helping?
It's been very good for me. It's been great, I think, just because it's nice mentally to have a day that I know is a complete day, or 2 or 3 or whatever it is for you, that you have nothing to do. You get to completely relax. A lot of the reason people get into shift work, one of the appealing things about it at the beginning, and no one ever really tells you that it's kind of a lie, is you just see, oh, well, I only work 10 days a month, so that means I get 20 days off to do whatever I want. And that's great in theory, but we all fall into the trap of doing way more. Or nurses, you do 3 12s, and I get all the rest of the time, and then you pick up overtime. And also, like she was saying earlier, this whole crap, if I didn't have time to do that, horseshit. Start being selfish. You get a lunch break. Take your lunch break. Sit down, meditate for 5 minutes, then eat your food, rest 5 more minutes, then go back out there. I understand if you're saying, well, if I take my whole hour, I'll come back and there'll be more work. Well, guess what? Tomorrow there's going to be that same work there, and the next day. So,
yeah, that's where you got to kind of like take a little bit of control. And not let,
no offense, smokers, but all y'all that work with smokers, do any of them ever miss their smoke break? Not one time. Go eat your lunch.
So we get to made feel bad for wanting to sleep. I think a lot of times, there's a lot of social pressure for hustling, and I don't need sleep, and I only need, I hear this all the time, and I probably used to say it myself, I only need 6 hours of sleep, I only need 5 hours, 5 hours and I'm good. And some people are like that. It's very small amount of people. But look at those people that say that. Look at how unhealthy they are. Look at the choices that they make, and then think about that for a second, because we are told that we don't need to sleep. Everything in our society is built around
sleep is a weakness.
Yeah, it's like a weakness or something. Yeah.
Point of, you have to prioritize the sleep that you are able to get. So if you're going to miss sleep, the sleep that you do get, you have to prioritize it. We can't catch up on sleep we lose. That's an old myth that, I'll catch up on it tomorrow, whatever. That doesn't, once it's gone, and you just affected your health. You can't get it back, unfortunately, but what you can do is improve the sleep that you do get. And I think set yourself a sleep schedule is probably the most important thing you can do. It's every day.
So getting up and going to bed at the same time every day, even day. On the weekends.
Even on the weekends.
Even on the days that you're off shift.
Mm-hmm. And if you're working your shift, still go to bed and get up at those same times if you have that option. Still, for me, it's going to bed somewhere between I'd say I'm probably asleep somewhere between 9 and 9:30, and I get up somewhere between 4 and 5 in the morning. That's my sleep schedule. Even when I'm at work, if we're not running throughout the middle of the night, that's when I still get up. Just because it makes me feel better. I noticeably can tell that my body, when I stick to that, runs better. I wake up, I have more energy, I'm in a better mood, I have much more patience with children. So it is extremely beneficial, and it helps that we're now, like we were talking about, when I get up at 4 in the morning, I'm not dragging myself out of bed at 4 in the morning. I get up at 4 in the morning and I'm ready to go. And that works for me. I'm more of a morning person, I get it. So if you're more of a night person, it might be an opposite adjustment. It might be, just staying up a little later, sleeping in a little more, just adjusting accordingly.
Yeah, just whatever it is, it needs to be the same all the time.
Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
So, some other things that we try to do, and we're not perfect, and I'm not perfect, and it's all about just trying to do the best, be better and better. But like I do some, on my phone, and a lot of people's phones, you can set something called night shift in the settings. Talk a lot about all the light that we get from our phones and our televisions, and all the screen time that we get. It throws off our production of the hormones that make us sleep or make us get sleepy, and the ones that are supposed to come on at a certain time to make us want to get up. So we're throwing off all these cycles by having all this bright light all the time. So I set my phone automatically to come on like at 6:30 or 7 p.m. It goes on night shift, so it blocks the blue light out. I also have an alarm set that tells me to get off the phone at a certain time. I don't always do that, but it has made me more aware, and I do better about it. There are several nights when I lay in the bed and Josh is like, get off the damn phone, and I can't do it. But
mainly because I'm trying to go to sleep.
mainly because it's keeping him up. But I'm doing better, and I think that's just there's like a little list of what they call sleep hygiene. Things like keeping your bedroom cool at night, investing in your sleep, like your mattress and your bedding and those types of things, and making sure that they are comfortable and inviting.
Darkness, completely dark.
Keeping it super dark in your bedroom, turning your phones over, turning the clocks away from you if you're somebody that wakes up and checks the clock all the time. Having like a bedtime routine. So if you're somebody that lays in the bed wide awake for an hour, first of all, don't lay there. If you're not asleep in like 20 minutes, get up, go read or something, and then get yourself to where you're feeling like you are sleepy, and then get back in the bed. Again, this is something like sometimes we're good at it, sometimes we're not. So it's just trying to do the best that we can with it. I know that there's in this book, they talk a lot. A lot of people think alcohol is a sedative, and there's studies coming out now that it may make you go to sleep, but it interrupts your REM cycle. So you are never getting in a deep sleep. So if you're somebody that thinks they need a glass of wine or a beer or two or whatever to go to sleep, it will put you to sleep, but it is not giving you quality sleep. So if you do that all the time, you're probably in that chronic fatigue type situation, and not even really understanding that you are, because you're like, well, I sleep, but
you don't feel rested.
But you don't feel rested. Yeah.
The REM sleep's where all that repair and the great stuff really take place. And
yeah.
When you drink, you don't get into it. And also, surprisingly enough, when you take Ambien, you don't either. So a lot of my fellow shift workers out there, I know y'all take Ambien. I'm not trying to tell you go throw your bottle out. I know a lot of you would probably shoot me before you let me. There's also a lot of research on how addictive it is. Well,
yeah.
So I'm not trying to.
And it's not ever getting you that good restful sleep, which in turn, like over time, is just creating a cycle of mood disorders, eating disorders. Metabolically, you're not running correctly. All these things. And you're not even realizing that you're doing it to yourself. So
What else? That's sleep. So
Yeah.
what would be your important, if you could give 5 things for eating for shift workers, what would you say? I'd say one for me is while you're on shift, just to stay away from sugar. And I'm not trying to say sugar's the devil or anything like that. It has its place, and there's actually really good times for you to eat sugar, believe it or not. But I would say, generally speaking, when you're on shift, just try to stay away from it because your body's already at a disadvantage to handle sugar. Hormonally, you're at a disadvantage to handle it. You're most likely going to store it in a bad way. So I'd say that my number one tip for that would just be, which is hard to do because it's always Christmas and there's always cookies, or it's always somebody brought this in and it's somebody's birthday, and it seems like they have a birthday for a week somehow. I'm not sure how that lasts.
For a month.
Or yeah. And it's cake every day. It's weird.
Yeah. So it's like top 5 for that would be, for me, would be being prepared to deal with whatever the peer pressure is in your environment, because that's a real thing. That's a real thing for people at work, period. To try to not just do you, and don't you don't have to go and eat the crap food. You can make a better choice. And
a lot of you fire guys out there, I know you have meals together, and we do on the SWAT team too, and we're all understanding that may be one meal out of the month. I know I'm going to sit with them and we're going to go eat something crummy, but that's only one meal. It's not. You don't have to be like imprisoned by all of that stuff. But that's just life in general. Yeah.
Like, you are not always going to do the very best thing for you. We're talking about overall, over
long
time.
term. Yeah. And don't be, if you have a goal and you got something going on, like you said, don't be don't be shamed into taking your Tupperware and eating it when everyone else is eating pizza, or to say no to the donut, even especially when you just ate your breakfast. You don't need a donut for dessert.
Yeah, and if they make fun of you for eating the donut, be like, just shrug it off, because they don't understand you. They don't understand the greatness that you are. But
let's make it top 5. What did you say your top 5 most important factors to getting improved sleep would be? I'd say for me, number 1 is the schedule. You set your sleep schedule.
Yeah. Probably my number 1 would be the screen time thing. That I know when I do it or don't do it, that I am able to get sleepy on time, and I go to sleep better, and I sleep better overall. For me, the alcohol thing.
Yeah.
So I know that I love it too. I love to have a glass of wine. I love to have whatever, a beer or whatever, and a lot of times, we get in a cycle of doing that, and then all of a sudden we're like,
I feel like crap.
This is probably our problem, and so we stop again.
But generally speaking, it's not the beer I had before I went to sleep. It had to be something else. It had to be
we tell ourselves
because I worked too much the day before, or something else. Couldn't have been that.
Something's wrong with my thyroid.
Yeah, I have a thyroid problem. Clearly, it couldn't be the 6-pack I had before I slept for 2 nights in a row.
Yeah. So the sleep schedule, the screen time, the alcohol.
I'd say, I think this helped me when I was starting to have some blood pressure issues. Was if you can find a way to get in a routine of meditation before bed, and I'm going to use the word meditation. You can replace that with prayer, meditation, relaxation, but just a little bit of time before you go to sleep, like you were talking about, where you wind down. And you are able to get your body ready to just go to sleep, instead of just hitting the bed and all you're thinking and worrying about is everything you have to do tomorrow, or everything you didn't get done today.
Yeah.
Especially for us that work a lot of different jobs, and you're constantly busy, and your schedule's so different that you have to look at it 12 times a day to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Map out 5-10 minutes. A lot of my friends, they'll do that in the morning as well. When they get up, they'll have a quiet time or things like that, which is also beneficial. Try to have that at night too. Reading can help you with that if you want to read, or a devotional, a good book, whatever it is.
I have some clients that actually keep like a little journal or something beside their bed, because they wake up and their mind starts going. So they're busy at work or whatever, and they start playing, something that's going on in work, and then they can't go back to sleep. So they just write it down really quick, and then it allows them to like let it go and go back to sleep. So there's all kinds of little tricks, that people do, to get yourself to be able to sleep better. The mattress thing,
Yeah, just an inviting environment.
Yeah, if you wake up every morning and you hurt, there's probably an issue with your mattress. You need to look into that a little bit. We've been
Invest
on
some
it.
money. We're at that point too.
Yeah,
It sucks.
It's
but
really
it's worth it.
hard to spend money on that, but how much? Think
What-
about how much.
Why do they
time
sell
to
a
spend.
15-year warranty with a mattress when it's dead after 10 years? It makes no sense. I wish somebody could tell me the justification for that because it's crap.
So it's worth the investment. But at the end of the day, I personally admire people that do shift work. It's a hard thing. It is a real thing. A lot of people do it. A lot of people, we need the people to do it that do it. So I just wanted to tell you thank you for what you do, and let you know that I appreciate you,
Well, thank you.
and that I think you're super important for our community, and we couldn't do it, we couldn't have what we have without the shift workers. So like, we just want to point out mostly that it's just super important what you do when you're not on your shift, and when you're able to get some sleep and able to eat better and to exercise. I think that's probably like what he said from the beginning, talking about, the longevity of people that work shift work, and he was kind of seeing that it didn't look good, and but he still wanted to do the job, but he wanted to do it and be healthy and have, last a little bit longer, and not be completely broken down tractor by the end of it. So and that takes effort on your part to not let that happen. So do we have anything else? Oh, I was just going to say real quick that if you guys are interested in more of what we do in terms of like training and working out and eating better and that kind of stuff, we didn't want to like totally make that about that,
Yeah.
because not everybody trains like we do. But if you are interested in that, then let us know below, and we'll be glad to do a whole separate video on just
Food prep or how I plan for a
that
day.
kind of stuff that's more related to like a bodybuilding or training and trying to look better and be buff and all that kind of stuff. So just let us know if that's something you want to hear, or want us to do a video on. And I'll try to link the book that we talked about below. And there's also a National Sleep Foundation that has some, basically like a cognitive behavioral steps that you can do to overcome things like insomnia or not sleeping good. So I'll try to link those below. And I guess that's it. We're signing off. Thanks for listening.